Hello and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. Today we're going to be discussing how men failed the women's strike before it even started with Teal Deer. Hi, Teal Deer.
Hi. That is as enthusiastic as I am going to be for the rest of this stream. It's all going to be downhill from here, and yeah.
Okay, apologies for the late start. SciTube just decided not to work randomly for no apparent reason. Maybe they're doing a bit of maintenance or they're doing an upgrade or something, but we had an entire codger prepared for you. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So
we could play
what
it
we'll
at the
do,
end. I suppose when we're finished, we could play the codger thing at the end. It's about 9 minutes long.
or we could give it to the patrons, or we could put it on minds.com.
Aha! Now you're talking.
Yeah. And incidentally,
Minds exclusive post. How about that?
Oh,
Taking away YouTube's traffic, hitting them where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you run a business.
I'm doing things with puppets.
Okay.
Hi, Dave. Love you, Dave.
Just definitely go to Minds and look us up there. I do not know what our direct URL is, but I'm sure that they have a search function. Just look up Honey Badger Radio and subscribe to us there, and we'll probably put the codger up there. Give you an incentive to go. All right.
So if you want to catch that codger thing, it's on minds.com/tealdeer. Go and check out that URL for all of the codgery goodness that will follow after the stream.
Okay. That definitely is the voice of authority there, folks. All right. So just a little bit of business before we get into it. We are doing a fundraiser to get Brian and Jonathan to San Jose. They're investigating any new platform that will be superseding YouTube. In my opinion, the next new thing will be completely new, a completely new type of media, a completely new type of content. And they're trying to investigate to find out what that might be. So if you want to find out what the new YouTube of the future will be, throw a few shekels in the hat. Every $5 helps quite a bit. And you just have to go to www.feedthebadger.com and let's put some nails in the coffin of the tubes. And in speaking of that, let's get into it. How men failed the women's strike before it even started.
All right.
I like this title because it implies that there was some degree of success that the Women's March had.
I was there. No.
Well, does that mean that it was successful?
I like the way they've declared that it's failed, evidently.
Well, clearly.
Yeah, no. Well, clearly it did. I was there. It even one of the individuals who I was there to interview, his name is Michael. He said that he was expecting 50,000, and I don't think it went over 2. At most 5 when they were marching. Probably significantly less than that. It was not a very, very large turnout. And what's really interesting is Mike has put up an interview with Michael, and Michael has attended the women's march after Trump's inauguration, and it was huge apparently. And he also attended this event, and he said, based on I guess some inside information, that the teachers union, I think, or the education board of Washington D.C. gave all of the teachers the day off that day, and even that, like that would have been like possibly at least a couple thousand, probably more like 10,000 people, and they didn't even go to the march. So this was even more painful than saying, well, at least 2,000 people showed up. All of the women who were agitating and got the day off didn't even go. Like, that's like however many, couple tens of thousands of teachers didn't even go to this. They didn't even show up. They took the day off and went shopping, probably.
So I could say that was a surprise, but it's not.
Well, Why would that be a surprise? Like, why would they even bother to attend their own fucking march? But of course, it's men that failed this. It's all men.
I just question something. It might be a little off topic on this, but since you brought it up, doesn't it seem a little bit odd that a teaching union is giving its teachers time off to go and protest something? Doesn't that seem a little bit partisan for a teaching thing to do?
Well, it probably is. Now, I would have to, I'm throwing this out for people to confirm whether or not this did happen. I'm taking it on the authority of Michael, which I think he probably isn't wrong. But if he is, I apologize. And I don't know exactly how many women didn't attend. But if all of that is correct, then yes, it is sort of partisan. And I'm not exactly sure why they would have done that. But there it is. There you have it.
Because women are exempt from responsibilities. You know this.
Apparently. Okay, so how men fail.
See, they're even exempt from taking responsibility for their own marching failing.
Yes. And actually that sort of reminds me, that march was so surreal. I remember at the end when they started to get into the park that was around the White House, there were men in the march leading the actual slogans. Like they would start the slogan and the women would follow. They would set the beat and the women would follow that. I'm like watching this, I'm like, seriously? You guys bill yourselves as strong, independent women, and you can't even lead your own fucking chants? You need a man to do it?
They do have more booming voices, to be fair.
Well, they might have more booming voices, but I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying if you're billing yourself as being independent and strong as a woman, maybe you should start your own. Maybe you should be able to do your own chants, not rely on a man to do them for you, especially in the women's strike march. Anyway.
Well, that's the thing. They were on strike, so they didn't feel like enacting the labor of coming up with their own chants, clearly.
No, they were just a typical chants. It would be enacting the labor of starting and speaking those chants, I guess. Well,
or
no,
is
I
it
mean,
possible that they were just man-interrupted. They were going to start it, and then those filthy, oppressive, patriarchal shitlords flexed their privilege and just got on in there first.
Judging from the crowd that milled at the end, I think that they really do need some sheepdogs. Because those were not women that had a lot of energy or spine, in my opinion.
I wonder if any of them sort of reverted to any like drill sergeant days. I don't know, but I've been told. Oh shit! I can't think of any of these that aren't sexist.
That would have been funny. It would have been much more lively. Okay, do you want to let's start the thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Are we taking it in turns to read this, or what?
Would you like to channel your codger?
Oh god. Today.
Tilder's laid down the gauntlet. Okay, go ahead.
Today, March the 8th. Okay, it's already wrong. Today, March the 8th, is the women's strike. And true to form, I'm here to step out solemnly with my angry feminist arms folded across my chest. I gotta say it, men fucked up again. No matter what happens today, men on the left done fucked up good. But before I embark on that screed, I'm going to start off by explaining how some white liberal women also done fucked up good with their criticism of this strike. Because I have to. Sweet reason compels.
Oh my god. Holy fuck. I'm sorry. It's what? Oh, men did this. Men did it, but also white liberal women. Okay, keep going.
In the days leading up to the women's strike, a handful of mentally sloppy women penned op-eds aiming to discredit the organizers for their elitism. Their charge? Only privileged women can afford to take the day off to strike. So obviously this strike is already a feminist failure, and the work that went into its organization is completely useless.
Oh, by the way, the person who organized this, not just Muslim woman, also a terrorist. Also responsible for killing 2 Jewish young Jewish men.
Oy
Uh,
vey.
yeah, she's quite a piece of work. That's not the feminist failure here, though. No. It's the fact that they pointed out that only women who either are independently wealthy, have a husband to support them, or a workplace where they're allowed to take the day off, they're so valuable that they're allowed to take the day off, can actually attend. So we're aiming quite squarely for the upper middle class. But let's talk about how they're so hard done by. Okay.
I think it's kind of funny because isn't that the same criticism that Honey Badger Radio or someone on that level at this as well? It's like this really is like only a certain class of people who can do this. So wasn't that the same point that was made here somewhere at some point?
Yeah. Unless I guess I went, so I would put myself in that class. Except people sort of paid me to go to eyeball this thing and actually give them a true what actually happened, as opposed to what the media is going to take away. But yeah, we criticized that. We said if they're here doing this in this large numbers, then these are women who have the liberty of being able to take a day off. And of course, this individual is saying it was other feminists saying this that are to blame. So interesting. Is this like them eating each other? I don't know.
Well, presumably so, because you do have the black feminism thing, and they do frequently like to criticize white feminism. That is like a playoff in the feminisms, and it's usually because black feminism claims to be like more intersectional because,
Black.
Yeah, well, because white feminism has its 77 cents and black feminism has its 50-something cents. Latina feminism has its 40-something cents, and
Asian feminism nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it?
Weird that, yeah.
Because isn't it like they make like 95 cents, or pretty much parity, or even more? Huh. And they're from, like you could argue that Asian societies are very patriarchal. What a surprise that their women make more money.
Oh, and is there such a thing as Jewish feminism? They get paid quite a lot.
Oh God. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph.
It's pretty easy to find the Jewish feminism. It's just on the table next to the smoked salmon.
Okay, ready, Mike? Are you ready? Do you have the codger voice ready?
Yes. All right. Where? Oh, yeah. This take, I think, is ironic, since many of these women writers ostensibly took the day off to write content shitting on women for free so male publishers could profit from the ad revenue, but their exploitation is not really any of my business. Or is it?
Wait. Let me try to parse that. Many of these women writers ostensibly took the day off to write content shitting on women for free so male publishers could profit from the ad revenue.
Apparently, these writers took the day off from writing to write some publishable content.
Oh, they must be referring to Kotaku, which ended up publishing more articles. No, they're probably not referring to Kotaku. That's just a random connection in my mind. But they ended up publishing more articles on the day of the women's strike than any other day of that week.
Oh, I think I get it. A woman writer's job, if you're a woman writer, your job is to write content praising women from the heavens. So if you're writing content shitting on women, then you're obviously having the day off from being a woman writer. You're being some kind of man writer there.
But isn't this woman shitting on women right now?
My head exploded. Sorry.
Okay, let's continue. Unless Teal Deer wants to get in there.
No, I'm just gonna continue tying this noose while we're waiting. It's fine. There'll be a loud crack somewhere in a few minutes. Just ignore that. I'll be quiet after that point, though. It'll be fine.
Hear that? That's the cans of bleach. All right. Because ain't that the question? All right, the next bit's highlighted in a rather attractive turquoise green. That means it's good. Yeah, it is a bit teal, actually. Yeah. There's a wild misunderstanding here about what strikes are about. To assume that a strike is just a bunch of people walking off their jobs is a mistake, though a forgivable one, given all the propaganda that goes into making us hate the labor movement. When activists say strike, what we're saying is we're at war. When socialist feminists say we're on strike, what you're evidently not hearing is that we're at war against capitalism, and what we're striking against are the unique ways in which capitalism truly and profoundly fucks over women who are uniquely oppressed by its fuckery. When you argue that a women's strike is elitist, because not all women are free to dissent, you're not mad at organizers, friend, you're mad at capitalism. Capitalism is why not all women are free to strike today, so is against capitalism women strike.
Okay, I'm going to make an effort.
Capitalism is the reason that so many of these women can take a day off and still be fine at the end of it.
Well,
Did they not see this? It's capitalism is the reason why these women can take a day off and like come home to a home that's still there, that hasn't been taken away by some state that sent them off to be executed because they didn't do their job.
I'm actually having trouble parsing this. All right, so
Who was it that brought us women's suffrage, by the way? Was it the communists? It's a head scratcher, isn't it?
Well, I don't think they really were wanting anybody to have suffrage, but we're at war against capitalism, but specifically against the way capitalism truly and profoundly fucks over women, not men, women. Because in a capitalist society, it's women who, that's 95% of the workplace deaths, women.
Well, capitalism fucks over women because it pays them slightly less on average, but still allows them to make like 3/4 of all of the spending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, women are really fucked over in a capitalist society by being able to spend more than they make.
Yeah, because it's not the point. It's not the point where the money is spent where the power lies. It's the point where it's earned. That's why we call it wage kingdom and consumer slavedom. I'm a consumer slave. Because the point where I spend money is where I become a slave, apparently. But the point where I'm earning money, it's not wage slave. That's the point where I gain power, when I have to go every day to a workplace and please the boss to get a paycheck. That's where I have power, as opposed to when I can go to a store and spend. That's not power.
Spending money that isn't yours is not a form of power, Alison. Don't you understand? Spending other people's money means you're oppressed.
But, okay, I just don't, capitalism made it so that these women capitalism made it so these women could actually go to this.
Yeah, but only some women. This is the point. It's some women could afford to not go, and that means the women who can't go, they're being oppressed by capitalism because they have to work. I mean, they're ignoring the fact that in a socialist system, everyone has to fucking work all the time.
Well, and also, I don't even think if they tried this shit in Stalinist Russia, what do they think would happen? Honestly, do you think that
clearly they'd be allowed to do it because
communism
Russia is perfect? Yeah, because communism and Marxism are absolutely perfect.
I don't even think that capitalism and communism judged necessarily by how well they benefit women and women alone. I think that's totally morally bankrupt. But on the whole, the fact that a whole bunch of women can go to Washington, D.C., get within a stone's throw of their leader and put on a protest and have the money to do it, I don't think that would have happened in Stalinist Russia. So this is only enabled by the society you live in and the society you want to actually get away. I don't even think it would have happened. This wouldn't happen in Saudi Arabia. It wouldn't happen in a lot of the Muslim theocracies in the Middle East. So what exactly are you advocating for when you advocate for communism and you say that Sharia law is feminist, and you have you know what? I could be wrong about this, but I think this woman is a proponent of Sharia law, and she is the the organizer of all this? Okay.
To be fair, I have not seen an advocacy for communism here, just an anti-capitalist sentiment.
Okay.
So clearly, what she means is we need a socialist system because socialism never devolves into Marxism, and besides, true Marxism has never been tried. So it's fine. It's cool.
Well,
right?
what?
Or true communism has never been tried, right? So that's how we justify this.
And
Yeah,
no bad people have ever called themselves socialists, except National Socialists and Soviet Socialists. But apart from those guys, why wouldn't you call yourself a social justice warrior?
Okay, all right. Just to get in here, what level of socialism are they talking about? Because I live in a fairly socialist country, and this level of socialism would still not enable every single woman to be able to drop her job at a moment's notice and go halfway country to attend a tea party in the middle of the day. So obviously they're dealing with an even greater level of socialism, and that doesn't even fucking make sense. Because even more communist than Canada, but that doesn't even seem to relate to being able to take the time off to do this. I think I'm staring too much in the abyss. I'm gonna stop. Let's continue.
All right. We're away from the teal zone now. Don't worry, guys. The charges that lay before the organisers of the women's strike are that they privilege only those women who can afford not to work. They charge that the strike is somehow anti-feminist because many, if not most, women cannot participate because so few can afford to risk their employment or their family's well-being by opting out for a day. This can be a completely valid critique, but what does that actually say? Are people making this critique to impugn the organisers as anti-feminist, elitist, racist, ableist, or whatever they didn't figure out a way to make sure everyone capitalism is crushing could participate? Did I say that right? Or are they pointing out exactly why such a strike needed to happen in the first place, so that millions of women and men might realise how impossible it is for women to take one fucking Wednesday off without everyone losing their shit?
Okay.
If men took a fucking Wednesday off, everyone really would lose their shit. It would be like a snow day. It'd be worse than a snow day.
No, it would probably be the end of the world. We probably, quite honestly, if men took a day off, we'd probably still be recovering in 2070. One day, we'd probably the economic impact would still be felt in 2070.
Everything would stop working except the dams, and even they'd start to crack.
But here's the thing: what are they comparing this to make this gendered? Do they think men can take a day off? Like, seriously?
I'm going to say now, men would be more likely to lose their jobs if they took one day off.
No shit. There would be no tolerance for this. That's why, incidentally, they earn more, because they're at work more, because nobody tolerates them leaving. That's why they don't take as many sick days, and they don't take as many, I got to pick up the kids, afternoon soccer practice days.
Those privileged bastards.
And that gets worse after the men get married, and women stop. That's what's so funny, is that the wage gap only applies prior to marriage. And after marriage, when a woman legally is entitled to the earnings of another human being, suddenly she stops earning as much. But it's a mystery. Why?
Yeah, it's almost like when you give people something for nothing, they cease trying to improve themselves and cease doing, anything.
Misogynist.
I know, I need to go and lash myself now. I'm a terrible person.
Why would incentives affect women? That's... misogynist.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the thing. Why would this at all come down to women's own choices? We can't actually shit on women, but except here we're shitting on women in this article, but we can't do that as we do it, because reasons, misogyny. Why are you questioning me? Okay, next paragraph.
All right. Consider that the reasons women cannot participate in a women's strike have nothing to do with the women's strike and everything to do with the spectacularly fucked position of women in late capitalism. Everyone knows women in the United States are so ensnared by so many interwoven tangles of fuckery that most of us can't even get 8 hours off from it. So,
What?
You sleep every night. You've got 8 hours off from it at least.
Late capitalism.
I know, right? As opposed to what?
Early capitalism? What the
Early
fuck
capitalism, noon capitalism, afternoon tea capitalism. They're all the same.
They're just making shit up now.
Midlife crisis capitalism.
Yeah.
After marriage capitalism, pre-marriage capitalism.
Yeah, so midlife crisis capitalism is the capitalism that drives around in a big car. Post-divorce capitalism is the one where capitalism loses his big car. His wife gets it.
And you know, I don't. Just to speak to what you said about this being one of our criticisms, Teal dear. Yes, but here's the thing: the greater criticism is that women live in a position where they have the spending power and the ability to leave work in order to go to a women's strike. Men don't. That's why we don't see men's strikes. It's not because men have nothing to complain about. It's because they can't complain, because they'll lose their job. And then they turn around and they look at this and they say, oh, women are oppressed. Women are so ensnared by so many interwoven tangles of fuckery. Like going on the subway and seeing "Don't Women's Spread," turning on the TV and hearing "Don't Womansplain," looking at a freaking poster campaign that tells women not to rape because God knows every woman would rape a man's wallet if she could. You know, these are the things these are the so many interwoven tangles of fuckery that women have to face every day. They have to face blue ribbons at the counters saying, "Oh, we care about men more than care about the cancers of men way more than women." I can't even care. I've lost track of how many times I've seen those pink ribbons fucking everywhere. It's like the second most famous thing to put on anything. It's at every freaking counter, every freaking funding draw. It's just everywhere. And at some point, when do they acknowledge that society actually does care about women? At no point. Okay.
Can I just point out before we go anywhere, I've got to admit I am loving this woman's extremely in-depth and robust criticism of capitalism. I never was aware that the term fuckery was actually an economic term, but apparently it is, and it's a very legitimate one, because this term fuckery is apparently the entire basis for why capitalism is bad. I need to go and take a whole new economics class, clearly, because I never ever learned about the concept of fuckery.
And fuckery is literally how capitalism, under capitalism, American women are, and I shit you not, the largest single consumer body on the planet.
Yeah.
Capitalism has fuckerated them so much that they are the most powerful consumer body that exists. Until we find another sapient species, American women are literally the most powerful sapient group in existence because of capitalism. But because capitalism can't instantly give every woman exactly what she wants, like some post-scarcity economy, like some sort of Star Trek world where a woman can dial up whatever food she wants from some replicator and she can be instantly transported to Washington, D.C. to take part in a march. And nobody has jobs, so nobody has to worry about having to take time off and getting fired. Because we don't live in a world like that, women are oppressed. Even though men actually live in a worse world right now. They live in the world of early capitalism. Everyone, if they don't show up to work every day, they get fired. If they take too many sick days, they get fired. If they show any lack of devotion to their job, they get fired. If they say, hey, I really don't want to go into that room with the really crushy machine bits that seems unsafe, they get fired. Okay, I'm done. Next paragraph.
Is fuckery the new word for rape? Like the new polite advertiser-friendly word for rape? Is that what they're doing?
Economic rape, sir. Economic rape.
All right, where are we? Oh, okay. So yes, you're right. If women strike, grandparents are going to suffer. Because, who is changing your elderly relative's diapers? That's right, probably a woman. And you're right.
Because men get fired for an allegation of touching your grandma inappropriately. I'm just putting it out there. Actually, we have a patron who works with older people who have mental disabilities. So it's not always a woman, and in fact, often it's an orderly, and orderlies are, guess what, men. There's a lot of situations in hospitals where the nurses don't want to deal with that shit, so they get an orderly to do it, and a lot of them involve poopy diapers. Let me say, I'm just putting it out there. Sorry.
In a capitalist system, though, you can pay someone else to clean up your shit. In a socialist system, you can't.
You have to clean it up yourself.
Yeah, I mean, consider that when you're on the receiving end of it. You know, that's kind of good.
Okay, next paragraph. Sorry, Mike, I interrupted you. I fem-interrupted you.
You only interrupted the codger, and he's always got to grab up his ass. And you're right! The school's closing will be a fucking mess. But who cares for those same children when there's a snow day? That's right, probably a woman. I said that weird. But who cares for those same children when there's a snow day? That's right, probably a woman.
Yeah, it's a woman who is able to get a day off because it's snowing, as opposed to the man who can't get a day off even though it's snowing. Oh, I'm sensing a pattern.
Well, wait a second. But how are the women taking care of the children when they're not at work because it's a snow day?
And what kind of snow day are they talking? A regular snow day or a Swedish feminist snow day?
Jesus.
Fucking city shuts down because they fucked up.
That's hilarious. We need to prioritize women because they're the ones that are keeping the city running. Oops. No, they aren't. Oh, we prioritize men because everybody's reliant on their labor to keep going with their lives. And when you don't, everything fucks up. But I guess we can't do that. Even though there's a freaking logical, completely legitimate and completely non-sexist reason to prioritize the snow plows, prioritize snow removal, prioritize the men who drive the buses. There's a completely non-sexist reason to do that. But because it's men in those jobs that keep the city running, it is sexist to discriminate in their favor. Why does it feel like there's a lack of common sense in the world?
Probably because there is.
Okay, next paragraph. Unless Teal Deer wants to add to that. I feel like I'm not pulling my weight.
You always feel like that, shut up. And yeah, you're right. So that's from the article. Oh, undocumented and migrant women who are at their employer's mercy can't decide to withdraw their labor. But that's the argument we're trying to make. That this is about the uniquely fucked position of women all over the country because our country runs on the capitalist exploitation of women.
Okay, wait. So these women who actually can't, like these highly, these well-paid or valued or women who have luxury time are striking for the women who don't. How are they, like, how does this benefit the women that don't? How is this not these entitled women appropriating the victimhood of women who can't do this shit?
Because the word solidarity exists, and that's all the excuse you need.
Yeah, but solidarity always seems to be, solidarity and intersectionality always seems to end up, white heterosexual women are exactly as oppressed as the Mexican laborer who can't take a day off while she's pregnant because her white, wealthy, heterosexual employer would fire her, or heterosexual female employer would fire her. This is so dishonest. The situation of undocumented and migrant women is not for you to appropriate. as a woman who does have the resources to take a women's strike off or a day off, and what is doing that? What is having a little vacation and hanging out with a bunch of women in a park? What is that going to do to anything positive for undocumented and migrant women? Like.
Well, have you seen the amount of shit that gets left behind after them? They're clearly hoping that all of the undocumented migrants that are women are going to have to clean up after them. Oh, no, wait, that's going to be men who do that. Shit.
Well, it might be some undocumented and migrant women, although in this case there wasn't enough women at the actual march to leave much of an effect in terms of signs and shit. Okay, so it just occurs to me, where do we discuss and cover the thesis that men are responsible for all of this?
Later.
Okay, let's get to later.
Or
let's
it
get
might
to
be
late
because
capitalism.
men are responsible for capitalism. Maybe. I don't know.
Mike.
You've gone mono.
Okay, that's very strange. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. You got to give her one thing. She does have some incredible turns of phrase. America's nonsense cake of late capitalism. All right, continue.
Okay. Look closer and you'll start seeing the layers upon layers of capitalism baked into Americans' nonsense cake. Capitalism is a major culprit as to why the majority of women can't escape fuckery for 8 hours, let alone attain social and political parity with their fellow men in everyday life.
Because men can escape fuckery. Whatever fuckery is defined to being.
Who knows?
Okay, then you... Yeah.
All right, we got another green bit, folks. we got another,
Woohoo! Green bit!
We got another highlighted bit.
This is the good parts.
Right. Any organizer worth her shit knows that ending women's exploitation is going to take more than a day. It's going to take unrelenting build-up across all sectors of society to attain the kind of momentum and velocity necessary to break the big hurt machine. But if you're arguing that elite women shouldn't organize against exploitation until all women are free to resist it, then you're just running in idiot circles. If you're going to shit on every organized strike against capitalism because capitalism is successful at ensuring not everyone can strike, we're going to have a bad time.
Okay, well, I don't have to answer for the criticism of, but capitalism ensures that you elite women actually can do what you do. Because the men you are married to can't take a day off. If they did, they'd probably spend more time with their kids than go marching about and complaining about reproductive rights they don't actually have. But just putting that out there. Teal dear, you've been quiet. I hope that you didn't make good on your promise to kill yourself. Uh-oh. Shh.
I think he did.
Oh my god. I shouldn't laugh. Crap.
I knew I heard the sound of a deer hanging itself. It's a very unique sound. Wow. Sorry, off in the distance.
Okay, all joking aside, are you actually still alive, Teal dear?
Partially.
Yeah, is it because you haven't suffocated to death?
Yes. I might have fucked up and it's got tangled around my antlers. This could get a little bit awkward. It's okay. I'll just continue rotating here very slowly, so I might be a bit quiet half of the time.
It's like Canadian moose fishing.
Yes.
I have no idea what that is, but I really want to try it. Sounds very kinky.
Mm.
The moose seem to like it, and they're hefty fellows.
Okay, let's float that one down the stream. All right, next paragraph there.
All right. If this day makes plain how truly impossible it is for most women to take even 8 hours off from capitalist and patriarchal exploitation, then I consider this strike a wild success for the women's movement. If our absence illuminates how dependent the big hurt machine is on women's systemic oppression, then brava, organizers. If you've spent any time at all today considering how utterly and profoundly unsupported the typical single mother is by our nation's inadequate domestic policy, then give those organizers a fucking medal, because they will have done more for working class women in this country in a day than 100 of Sadie Doyle's useless thought pieces.
So what does the huge women's march say then? Because you guys managed to mobilize hundreds of thousands in the women's march, but now you can only mobilize a couple thousand for this one. So either women have the ability to be mobilized in hundreds of thousands, which means that they have the means to do that, or they don't. Which is it?
Both of these were essentially anti-Trump marches, and they really wanted to do the one that was the day after the inauguration. Like, the one a few weeks later, they were like, we just did one, screw that.
Okay, continue.
Alright. So maybe it's not the strike organizers who need to be called out today. But you know who does? That's right. Men. What
a surprise.
Make no mistake. Leftist men have already failed the women's strike by failing to organize men's auxiliary in advance of the women's strike. I know thousands of men on the left have known about the coming women's strike for weeks now, but most, if not the solid majority, left the organizing work to women. Men presumed that because today's strike is about women's exploitation, they are somehow absolved from the hard, thankless work of organizing it. If my social media network is anything to go off of, many vocal male feminists thought their entire obligation to the women's strike began and ended with taking care of their own fucking kids. What kind of shit is that?
This is something someone wrote.
This is a thing that a person wrote.
There is a human that wrote this, that thought this and wrote it. This is because men weren't able to march, they failed the women's march. Have you considered it's because the men couldn't do that? You know,
Men treated us like strong, independent women and told us to organize our own march. God fucking damn them.
Okay, well, you realize that from what I saw, it was men organizing the construction of this. So how much, I mean, the organization of the march is just march on this particular route. That's it. The building and making sure all the technical equipment soundstage was probably the most complex thing about the march, and men did it. But that's not enough. They need to do more for women, and they can't ever, there's no recognition that maybe women are asked men can give. Maybe the men didn't march because if they had asked for a day off, they would have been fired. You know, or they couldn't get a day off because they had to pay the bills. So maybe the reason why men weren't at the women's march is because they don't have the same resources, statistically, to spend time and money doing something like this. Because they aren't the most privileged group of people in all of human history, just judging based on consumer power. I know. Apparently men are responsible for fucking everything. Everything. No matter what, men are responsible.
Well, of course they are. They're a bunch of rapists. They fuck literally everything. Haven't you been paying attention?
I guess this is more fuckery. Okay, so a capitalist system, which is men's fault, makes it so that women can't attend the women's strike. But, you know, because a capitalist system enables men to take all the time off they want, they should have attended the women's strike, but they didn't, because they just left it up to the women because they thought that's what the women wanted. But no, what the women wanted was for men to take everything over and do it for them. You know what? At this point in time, I feel for you men. Truly. Like, and usually people are sarcastic when they say, how do we breed? How do we continue to breed? How do we continue to species with this shit?
We stopped listening to this shit.
Yeah, but then we can't respond to it. We wouldn't have a show. So let's do the next paragraph.
My personal advice is humans should simply cease their reproduction and the era of the deer can begin. We won't fuck this shit up as much as you guys did. It'll be better.
Let the deerocracy begin.
More green spaces, less buildings, no cars, no pollution. It'll be great. It'll be a veritable utopia compared to what humans have done.
I, for one, welcome our new ungulate overlords. All right.
Yeah.
So we return to this underlying question about who is and isn't supposed to get involved in a strike against systemic exploitation. If you listen to the convoluted logic of some of these liberal critics, all women have to be able to strike for any woman to be able to strike. But if all women are able to stop working for even a day, then it's going to take millions of men to change.
Men need to take more responsibility for work, but then when they're paid more, they have to also take responsibility for having worked more and earned more as oppression for women. How? Okay, Mike.
They have lots of things in their brain, but a very, very small spyglass to look through, where was I? Oh, yeah. A lot of male allies reached out to me yesterday, March the 7th, to ask what they could do to help with this strike. Bastards. But look, let's admit how fucked up that is. If your feminist praxis as a male ally is to wait until the eve of the women's strike to ask a woman how she can enlighten you about feminism for free on a day she's not supposed to be doing anything whatsoever, you need to go to the library right now. Pick up the heaviest book you can find and slam it hard against your face. If you need women...
Is this a Poe?
I don't know. If you need women to write out detailed instructions so you know what to do with yourself on a day women everywhere are trying to stop working, you're hopeless to our cause.
Okay. Dear, how?
So you just need to know how to please a woman without her ever having to say anything to you. You need to become psychic. That's what I'm getting from this. You've got to be able to peer into the future and know everything that a woman requires before she requires it, because it's not totally obnoxious when someone just shows up with the thing you wanted right when you wanted it and is like, here you go, and you're just sitting there like, I really wanted that thing, but I don't want to admit it now because you're going to be a smug fuck about it because you guessed right.
Yeah, but no, smug fuckery is just the fuckery of late capitalism. The nonsense cake of capitalism that society has baked and shoved all over women.
I can't get over this fucking... It's not my job to educate you attitude. It's... Look, if someone comes to you and is like, oh, you're really passionate about this thing and I want to help you about it, can you tell me about it? How many people do you think are going to support you when your response is, no, fuck off and go and look it up for yourself? Like, if I am enthusiastic about a thing and want a thing to happen and someone comes and talks to me about it, it's like, oh, what can I do to help you? I'm going to be like, okay, well, I'll talk to you for at least a little while. I'm not going to give you like a full-on 10-hour lecture for free. Oh, who am I kidding? I'm so long-winded I would. But it would... I wouldn't just be like, no, fuck you, educate yourself. Why are you doing this now? You should have done this ages ago. Fuck you.
I don't understand what they want from men at this point.
They want men to never be happy.
Well, obviously, but literally, like if you're organizing a march, and a male ally comes up to you and says, "How can I help?" What do you want him to do? Do you want him to just like not come up to you and ask you how you can help? To just go in there and do shit. Like, don't listen to the women's. You don't want to put labor on the women's to tell me what to do. I'll just go in and start doing shit. In fact, why don't I just do everything? Like, are you just expecting the men to come out of the woodwork, do everything the way you want it to be done, and then disappear? Like, what do you want? What do you think men are? At this point, you have to wonder, what space do men occupy in your brain? Are they just like the space where everything gets done? Like some sort of God particle? Like, not particle, but like some sort of God space in your brain. And if they don't occupy that God space of just doing everything you want and then disappearing and never doing any kind of imposition, that's what you see men are. Are men human at all? Do you understand they have limitations? Do you understand that if they actually did what you're suggesting here and just take over the fucking march and do it all themselves, you would still be complaining about that. So how can they win?
This is why you just stop playing the game.
Yeah,
That's how you win.
I don't even see why it would be even I don't even understand this shit. Any man. I mean, women I can sort of get, because it's very seductive to think of yourself as some sort of cosmic child being taken care of daddy, patriarchy, God, or whatever the hell the man-shaped part of her brain is, which is probably basically all of her agency. But, I mean, that can be seductive for women, but I don't see... Unless you are literally in it to be shamed no matter what you do, why? I guess that's the answer. Why would men be involved in this? Unless they literally in it to be shamed for everything they do.
I wondered at first if this was her sort of projecting something that happened on one of her birthdays or one of her anniversaries. Like her boyfriend came to her the day before her anniversary and said, "What do you want for your anniversary, darling?" And she was like, "You can't ask me the day before," which is almost understandable, but they've extended this to every day they've decided to have. I know it's the first ever annual Women's March Day, but you're going to ask me several months in advance what I want you to do for that day. In fact, ask me what I want to do for next year's Women's March as well, or you're a bastard.
But you can't ask me because then it won't be a surprise.
Obviously the end goal is just to be shamed, just to be bathed in a warm bath of shame for men who are involved with this. Because there's no way to win. Okay. Mike?
All right. Okay. Solidarity with women means more than volunteering to parent your own children. It means asking, sincerely and earnestly, what it is men have been neglecting to do as allies. It means thinking for a very long time about how lopsided America funnels women into low-paying, precarious jobs so that the men can profit wildly from their entrapment. It means asking how family policy in this country is weaponized against working mothers rather than supportive of their struggles. Wow. Does anyone want to say anything there?
Do you have some room in that noose, Steel Deer?
Yeah, I can stretch it. It'll be fine.
Does it work if they're
might need to lube you up a little bit first, but I can fit you. I can take you in with me. It'll be fine.
Okay, because I think I'm starting to really crave the release of Sweet Oblivion. This has to be a Poe. There's no way this is real. Okay, guys, if you're listening to this, say in the comments if this is actually a Poe, because this is too ridiculous. It's like I'm listening to an alien language that it's just edged into the point of being so ridiculous it's incomprehensible.
Well, the author of this piece is named Holly Wood.
Yes.
Documentarian of the absurd. It's looking a little bit Poe-y, but you can't tell. You just can't tell. This is why we have a war named after Poe.
Yeah, this is what makes it so funny. It's like even who was it? Janice Fiamengo, Professor Fiamengo had a video earlier about the feminist confessional booth for masculinity, and she went through like Well, clearly this is satire, because all of these other university campuses have something exactly like this. So all of feminism must be a satire, surely. And that just kind of highlighted the point where it's like, it's actually become impossible to tell satire of feminism from real feminism.
If feminism is a satire, I'm eagerly awaiting the day when they come out of the woodwork and say, it was a joke. Like, feminists, if you're listening, please do that. Any day now, any day now. I would love for you to start owning up to this. It's a great troll, but it'd be nice.
We'll take it.
We'll take it.
We'll suspect you're insincere. We'll suspect you're just trying to cover your ass, but we'll take it anyway.
We'll take it anyway. Just come out and start saying that this is a joke. You know, you mad, bro? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, please do that. Because otherwise I have to wonder. And just keep wondering. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna actually sort of see if we can tell this apart. I've just gone to this Holly Wood's question and answer page on Medium. Let's see if we can figure this out. There's a statement which someone has left on her which just says, events are not cesspools of harassment. Someone left that to her. Her response was, do you know what gaslighting is? Because that's what you're doing. Literally thousands of women report harassment at conferences every single year. I don't know what compels you to deny their experiences and insist that actually no, nothing bad actually happens. And then, of course, you transition into giving advice to women on how to prevent harassment that you insist doesn't exist. Which is it? I mean, does that sound like someone who is a Poe or someone who actually believes this sort of shit? Because to me, that sounds like a feminist answer to that question. Because they've even got the whole gaslighting thing in there, which is just one of these words they love to throw out there.
I don't know.
This is what I mean. It's impossible to tell anymore.
I know, and I guess it's a post-truth world. All I know is let's get through this. And then we can die after.
Alright, I think I found my place. The problem the women's strike is trying to address is profound, and yet men's answer to the call was to do practically nothing. If women are uniquely fucked by capitalism, then part of this fuckery is explained by way of men's inability to see it. The truth is, men as a group have more money, power, connection, and resources, but even the most left among them decided that today was going to be women's problem.
Maybe they don't, like, here's the thing, Miss Hollywood. If your conclusion is obviously one of your premises is wrong, maybe women aren't unique by capitalism. That's why men can't see it. And the truth is that men don't have more money because they don't have more consumer power. They don't have more power because they can't avoid being fired if they take a day off. They don't really have more connection in the context of these social issues, and they don't have more resources. Maybe your problem is in your premise and your assumptions, and that's why you're not coming to the conclusion that you expect. Maybe? I mean, just, is there, at any point, is there any, like, oh, well, conclusion, but conclusion is not playing out in reality. Perhaps, just maybe, there's something wrong with my assumptions. No, that never, we never can go there. Unless this is a Poe. All right.
Men dropped the ball today. Men dropped the ball today. They failed to show up and organise the carpools, the lunches, the care work, and all the other kinds of auxiliary support necessary for women to withdraw from labour. But there's little point in drawing out your excuses now. Just as organising the strike took weeks of effort, organising men's support would take just as long. The failure has been weeks in the making. But I didn't write this as an occasion for men to absolve themselves of their feminist sins at my vaginal altar.
Okay, good, all right.
The point is that you need to do better.
Okay. Seriously, this has to be a Poe. I mean, this has to be a Poe. How could this possibly? How could she be genuinely this disconnected from reality?
I think she's trying to be funny. I think this is what happens when feminists try to be funny. She thinks she's a slick talking, sort of no nonsense mofo, yeah, and she thinks she's saying witticisms. I don't fucking know, do I?
And she just sounds like she's making fun of her point of view. Okay, sorry, I interrupted. My point is that you need to do better.
Please do interrupt as often as much as you. Oh, we're nearly finished. It's all good. The need for a women's strike doesn't end tomorrow. This strike's success depends on us all understanding that women's struggle for liberation is deeper and more complicated of a problem than any of us previously realized. If this strike succeeds at all, it will because it raises the political consciousness of those who think feminism is still only about abortion or equal pay. This strike will...
Incidentally, all the signs about abortion or equal pay. Okay, continue.
The second one the other week was entirely about abortion and shit. Nothing to do with our immigrant sisters and brothers. Where was I? Oh yeah, this strike will succeed when we all realize how absurdly fucked women are, and we all have to do better. Admittedly, it's going to take a lot longer than a single day to get our shit together, but we're not getting anywhere until we all first understand what solidarity actually means in practice. If freedom is just a promise we make to each other, solidarity demands we all start delivering on our promises. Lovely little.
You know what? I agree with one thing that this woman said here, and I do agree that women can be absurdly fucked. Have you seen the Kama Sutra? Now that is some advanced fuckery right there.
We're all just picturing things at this point.
Yeah. Our minds are running hell-nell down that highway, Killdeer. Just away from this fucking article. All right, so we got through it.
To a much happier place, but
you already have.
There's also porn on the internet.
The discourse. You've already elevated the discourse away from this chasm of misery at her vaginal altar.
Chasm
of misery around her. You know, the chasm is deep within the ground, and her vaginal altar, base of the chasm. Now we're levitating out of it because of Teal'Dair's new topic, the Kama Sutra, which she would probably also regard to be patriarchal fuckery. So essentially what they're doing is they're saying that capitalism is to blame for women's position in the world and all the problems or capitalism is to blame for the lack of the strike's success. And also men, because men are synonymous with capitalism. And men should have figured out, without being told, mind you, they should have figured out how to help without women having to tell them how to help, and just spontaneously. So they should have just spontaneously organized whatever the women need, spontaneously, without asking how to do it, when to do it, what to do. Does anyone add anything to this? Because this is just...
I am going to weigh back in on the Poe issue.
Okay.
Reading this, chat, remember, academic feminism published a paper and cited it was cited, talking about black anality. Remember that. That was an academic, legitimate feminist paper. Something like this doesn't even come close to the stupidity in that. So this is why I think this could be serious. And I've got another one which I really want to do. I want to see if I can also cajole Bunny into doing it, because it'll be hilarious. And it's another academic paper, Diaries, Dicks, and Desire, How the Leaky Traveller Troubles Dominant Discourse in the Eroticized Caribbean. And it is a feminist queer discourse about cruising for gay sex as a white guy trying to pick up black guys.
Leaky Traveller.
Yes, The Leaky Traveller. Cited peer-reviewed academic paper from the Journal of Tourism and Cultural Change. This is why when you see an article and it's got a phrase like vaginal altar, you're like, This could be legit.
Oh, I know. And then the whole sperm banks are a patriarchal conspiracy completely covers the complete lack of agency that this is displaying. Like, is the profound ability to not see herself in the equation at all. To not want to have to do anything at all. Like, to not see her actions in terms of affecting her outcomes at all. And not even see how she has to actually tell men what to do in order to do it. Like, how can you not realize that? Oh, by the way, Teal dear.
Yes. Please, anything. Literally anything.
If you would like to, I wouldn't, I had an after show topic, but would you consider doing that academic article as an after show topic? And I mean, it would be something that you could also do on your channel because it would be after show.
It's kind of long, but I could do if you really wanted to. I have no problem with doing it twice.
Can we just do like the summary? Can we just?
We can do the abstract, yes.
Yeah,
and
I
will read for you the first paragraph because the first paragraph is basically a gay literotica. It's all about just like how a guy is like laying in bed with another guy and kissing him. That's the first paragraph of an academic feminist paper.
Jesus Christ!
It's hilarious.
All right. Okay, let's put a pin in that. I'm gonna do the business, the outro business. If you guys want to join us for after shows, www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. And take it away, Teal dear. And after Teal dear's done, Mike, we can just go, if you wish.
All right, take it away.
Teal dear?
Yes. Do what?
Oh,
you want me to read the thing?
Yeah, read the paragraph. Don't die. Don't kill yourself.
Okay. I will read through the abstract and then I'll read the first paragraph from the first bit, which is just called Stuck. Because, yeah. So it's for the paper. Are we in the after show now? Just want to check.
No, we're still live.
Oh, we're still live. Oh, okay. Everyone's getting this. You're all getting in on this feminist queer theory about the anal again. It's from Diaries, Dicks and Desire, How the Leaky Traveller Troubles Dominant Discourse in the Eroticized Caribbean. Yes. This article employs, quote, unconventional linguistic self-designation, unquote, in an attempt to move beyond the abstract signifying logics commonly used to theorize first world and third world sex tourism in a language of knowledge, power, and resistance. I look specifically at the sexual liaisons between Western tourists, including myself, and men from the Dominican Republic. In my efforts to move away from representational logics, I mobilize an apparatus utilizing feminist and queer affect theory, notions of embodiment, and the phenomenological, I can't say that word, language of orientation. I analyze the journal accounts of my own erotic encounters with Dominican men to stimulate a certain type of layered thinking capable of accessing affective dispositions and challenging the notion of an orientated, stable, composed subject. Neither tourist nor local Dominican men fit this unitary description. Instead, I rely on metaphors of disorientation, rupture, and leakage to arrive at indeterminate, fleeting, fugitive experiences defying common touristic tropes. I conclude that although Western white men, and women in brackets, are bound by authoritative modes of knowing, individually exempt perhaps, but structurally bound, possibility exists to, quote, write back, unquote, or successfully transgress boundaries in the non-representation of self and the other in a process of mutual recognition. Yep. Basically, this guy has written a paper about his gay sex diary.
People get paid
Yep.
for this shit. This
Yep.
this is the thing. This
is
okay.
the first paragraph. I want to read you the first paragraph of this academic paper because it's hilarious.
Oh, Teal dear, let's save it for the after show.
Oh, okay. We will do that then.
Yeah, because I do actually want to be able to get some chores done before the classic tonight. So, Mike, let's break for leakage, but not of the anal kind.
All right, see you in the after show, everyone.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/HoneyBadgerRadio.